This is a new tale from Tales Under Shells, where stories are lived, not instructed. As this story unfolds, allow your breath to stay with you. Ashu was happy after discovering that he was not a people pleaser. For a while, there was a strange relief inside him. He finally understood the difference. Helping people was not the problem. Losing yourself while helping them was. After understanding this, Ashu started noticing the same thing around him. A few days later, he visited one of his relatives. The moment he entered the house, he heard a familiar voice. Ashu! He looked up and smiled. It was Shruti Di, his favorite cousin. Everyone in the family loved her. Shruti had always been someone Ashu admired. She was the person people went to whenever they needed something. Need help? Call Shruti. Need someone to listen? Call Shruti. Need someone to take responsibility? Call Shruti. Everyone called her caring, everyone called her compassionate, and Ashu agreed. For him, she had always been the most caring person he knew. When he learned about people pleasing, he never thought about Shruti, because according to him, she was not trying to please anyone. She was simply someone who cared, just like him. But that evening, something changed. While walking through the corridor, Ashu heard Shruti's voice. I'm so tired. He stopped. Before he could turn around, someone called her. Shruti Di, uncle is calling you. Coming. And she walked away. Ashu stood there for a moment. Something felt strange. A few minutes later, he found her in the veranda, serving tea to everyone. She looked completely normal. No frustration, no irritation, nothing that showed she was tired. Didn't she just say she was tired? Ashu thought. He didn't say anything, but the question stayed with him. Later that evening, when they got some time alone, Ashu asked, Shruti Di? Yes, Ashu. Can I ask you something? She smiled. Of course. Earlier you said you were tired. Then why did you still go and do everything? Shruti looked confused. When? When uncle called you. She smiled slightly. Ashu, things have to be done. But why do you always have to be the one doing them? A silence followed. Ashu hesitated before saying, I just feel like you are abandoning yourself. For a moment, Shruti didn't respond. Then she smiled. If caring for others mean abandoning myself, then maybe yes, maybe I am. There was almost a sense of pride in her voice, as if this sacrifice itself proved how much she cared. Ashu looked at her. Then he asked something that came naturally to him. What do you think will happen if you stop doing things for others and start prioritizing yourself? Shruti opened her mouth. Nothing came out. She wanted to give an easier answer, something logical, something that made sense. But after a long silence, she whispered, I will be left alone. The words surprised both of them. Ashu didn't know what to say, and Shruti didn't know why that was her answer. After a while, she looked at him. Ashu, do you really think people like me choose this? Do you think one day we just decide that we don't matter? She paused. When I was younger, I was different. I was loud, I was carefree. I did whatever came to my mind. She smiled faintly. And do you remember what everyone called me? Ashu did. Everyone called her difficult, the troublemaker, the one who created problems. Shruti continued. But then I changed. When I became quieter, when I became easier, when I started taking care of everyone, people appreciated me. She looked down. I don't enjoy constantly thinking about everyone. I don't enjoy always being available. But I know this version of me gets accepted. Ashu remained silent. Then he softly said, But we love you anyway. Shruti looked at him. Do you remember saying that to me 10 years ago? Ashu became quiet because he knew the answer. No. Back then, even he had found her carefree version difficult, and that realization hurt. The painful part was not that Shruti believed nobody loved her. The painful part was realizing that even he had once preferred the easier version of her. Shruti took a deep breath. I don't know what you understand by people pleasing, Ashu, but I know one thing. People pleasing is not always about making others happy. Sometimes it is about trying to receive something we don't know how to ask for directly. Ashu looked at her. Like what? Shruti thought for a moment. Maybe acceptance, maybe safety, maybe the feeling that we won't be left behind. Her voice became softer. Sometimes we don't abandon ourselves because we don't value ourselves. We do it because somewhere along the way we learned that this is how we survive. Ashu stayed silent because suddenly people pleasing looked different. It was not just about someone who could not say no. It was not just about someone who wanted everyone to be happy. Sometimes it was someone trying to protect a wound they never got a chance to heal. Shruti wiped her tears. I just wish it was easier. Ashu looked at her, realizing something. Maybe the question was never, why do I keep abandoning myself? Maybe the deeper question was, what am I trying to receive by abandoning myself? Because sometimes self abandonment is not weakness. Sometimes it is a survival strategy we learned when we didn't know another way to feel safe. So, do you also think people pleasing is always about others? Sometimes we stay silent not because we don't have an opinion, but because we are afraid of what will happen if we speak. Sometimes we give more than we have, hoping somewhere inside that someone will finally choose us. People pleasing is not always just kindness. Sometimes kindness carries a hidden fear, the fear of rejection, the fear of being unwanted, the fear of not being enough. So, if you find yourself constantly choosing others over yourself, maybe don't start by judging yourself. Maybe start by asking, what am I trying to receive by abandoning myself? And once we understand what we are trying to receive, we can slowly learn healthier ways to give that to ourselves.
अगर इस कहानी ने आपके भीतर कुछ छुआ है तो उसे तुरंत समझने की ज़रूरत नहीं। बस इतना जानिए, आपकी भावनाएं गलत नहीं हैं और आप अकेले नहीं हैं। अगर आपको ये कहानियाँ पसंद आती हैं तो प्लीज़ चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए ताकि मैं इसी तरह नई कहानियाँ लिखती रहूँ।